the Zhiyun Cineper CF100 could actually be one of our new top 5 gadgets. If you're anything like me, then there's a very small part of you that wants a real life lightsaber. Yeah, so when a 100-watt light wand arrives at the studio, you get a little bit excited. Turns out that this 100-watt light wand is just an RGB light for content creators, but in using it, it does prove itself to be a little bit cooler than I first thought. So I wanted to see if the Zhiyun Cineper CF100 could actually be one of our new top 5 gadgets. In a rather unglamorous packing box, we get everything we need to get this awesome RGB little light wand up and running. We have a shower cap, which is actually a white diffuser, the USB-C to C charging cable, the giant cotton sock for your protecting carry case, the instruction manual that, let's face it, no one's ever going to read, but you should because these things are important, and the reflective barn doors that both keep the light safe but also help you control the light when it's in use and make this little light wand a little bit better than you would first imagine. The first thing you'll notice with the CF100 is it is heavy, like super heavy. That is in part down to the massive 6 fans that are on the back cooling this thing, but also, and probably more so, down to the massive 57 watt-hour battery that this thing is housing. It comes in at almost a kilogram in weight. It is ridiculously heavy, and if weight is truly a sign of quality, then this thing lives up to that reputation and then some. The plastic shell that kind of houses the whole thing actually does feel really well made, feels very premium, doesn't feel cheap around the edges, and that kind of gives an indication of the quality of the whole thing. Every kind of hinge and button feels well engineered, well machined, and well put together. It actually does have a real feeling of quality. The barn doors are reassuringly firm, holding themselves in place, and the on-body controls and the menu screen and the buttons that you use to control this light are equally well made and premium feeling and responding. All in all, the physical quality of this thing does lead you to believe that it is very well made. But in truth, my main concern from the off is that weight. This light stand stands at about 19 inches tall and weighs in just shy of 1 kilo. And as I say, that is down to the 57 watt-hour battery that this is housing. It definitely feels like it is worth £190 just in its weight, but I fear for anyone who's not taking it seriously enough that this thing could cause some kind of massive expensive mishap if you don't stand it properly or house it properly on the correct light stand. So amateurs, be warned. Onto the specs. That massive battery this thing is housing will give you about 31 minutes when you're running this at full 100 watt mode, and that will go right the way up to a whopping 5 hours and 34 minutes at 20 watts. Those batteries will charge in as little as about 2.5 hours when using the 1.2 amp PD fast charge. Cooling is provided by those 6 fans that you see on the back, and that may be a little overkill, but Zhiyun didn't want to cut any corners with their active cooling, and in fact it's one of the premium features they're offering with this fan. I will say it's probably going to be really important if you are running this at that full 100 watt mode. You are going to be generating a lot of heat. Despite the fact this is an LED light, they still get quite hot when they're running at those full 100 watts. So those 6 fans are going to be more than a little handy. Unsurprisingly, you have every light mode under the sun. Apart from the sun on this thing, you have the bi-white mode, which goes from 2700 Kelvin all the way up to 6500 Kelvin. So you have the full white scale there, to the full RGB control and every light effect that you can imagine, from sirens to a candle to a broken TV and all the kind of flashing and flickering you could ever want from an RGB light. This will offer it to you. There is a 1/4 inch thread on the base, and this suggests a more kind of premium and professional setup. And as I said earlier, I'd use that with extreme caution. This thing is so tall and heavy that you're going to need a very premium light stand that's properly weighted down in order to stand this up correctly. Otherwise, very expensive mistakes were made, and considering the retail price of this unit at £190, I don't want you dropping this because you put it on one of those flimsy Amazon stands that are made pretty much of plastic and your hopes and tears. So what's the CF100 actually like to use though? Firstly, I'd say it is really super intuitive, even if you're a little bit simple like me. What I mean for that is don't be scared off if you're not a camera nerd. This is very intuitive to use. The controls in the menu are very simple to go through. Yes, some of the terminology they use does seem a little verbose, but actually just play around with the buttons. You don't even need to read the manual. No one does. And you'll kind of find your way through this. In truth, you have the control of the white balance down from that very low Kelvin right up to the very high kind of cool blues, and you have the RGB modes and then the lighting effects. There's not actually a huge amount to learn with this. You're probably not going to need the full 100 watt mode. That is blisteringly bright and will only give you 30 minutes of runtime. You're going to be in the lower watch settings for most uses for this, but like I say, it's super intuitive to use, even for the new content creators out there that are going to be using a light like this. And one of the more underappreciated features on budget lights like this is those barn doors. They are super useful. I mean, you don't see enough of them on the more budget lights for content creators. They offer a level of control over your lighting that you don't see elsewhere. They allow you to firmly direct your light and control where the spill is, even at quite long distances. So it's really great to see these on here. They also have reflectors on the inside, which means that they kind of bounce the light a little bit more to make a bit more of an even spread. And if the light is too glaring still, you do have that cotton diffuser that you can put over the top of the light to kind of dampen it down a bit, especially if you're lighting someone's face. Very simple, very kind of obvious things to use, but nice that they've included it in this. The big negative I'll say with using this is when it comes to video creators. If you're hoping to use this for recording a video like this where you're talking to camera, those fans are going to be at a bit of a problem because they do generate quite a lot of noise. It's going to kind of interfere with your audio recording, so you're going to need to have the light at quite a distance, in which case you're going to need to have it a bit brighter and you're going to have a less runtime. So there's kind of balancing act in which you need to do. So the fans are a negative for video creators that are using it as a solo light, but in truth, that's not what this is for. This is for adding a bit of color to a background, for some lighting for some B-roll, or photographers or content creators of a different type that want a bit more of a portable light wand, or maybe you want to pretend you're a Jedi like me and just flash around the room with your new 100 watt lightsaber. So for content creators, streamers and photographers, kind of creators of all levels and budgets, this does offer something for everyone. It does come in at £190 here in the UK, so it is more on the pricier side of things, but there's a huge amount that they've packed in under the hood. A large battery, some cool lighting effects, and some premium features that you don't tend to see on the more budget end of the spectrum of lighting. So it does offer a huge amount. Is this one of our new top 5 gadgets? Well, I'll leave that for you to decide down in the comments down below. And whilst you're down there, let me know what you think about the CF100. Make sure you like this video, subscribe for more top 5 gadgets, and I will see you next time.